DESVGN.com.
Hi and welcome to Design Ideas episode number 7. Today's design idea is tripartite. Tripartite means composed of or split into 3 parts. In ancient Greece, tripartite was used in the classical structuring of their columns. The columns were divided into 3 main sections: the base, the shaft, and the capital. Although the styles and orders varied, the basic tripartite scheme remained. Early modernist and American architect Louis Sullivan, who's known as the father of skyscrapers and the father of modernism, later incorporated the tripartite concept into his skyscraper facades in much the same way as the ancient Greeks. His method of visually organizing the facade of the building by dividing it up into 3 sections, similar to that found in the classical column, base, shaft, capital, can be seen in his 1980 Wainwright building. Here we can clearly recognize the base, the shaft, and the capital. In more recent times, Jaklitsch Gardner Architects has designed the flagship location in 2010 for Marc Jacobs in Tokyo, Japan. The tripartite design here was due to a practical decision made because of strict zoning requirements limiting the occupiable building height to 2 above-grade floors, demanding a comparably shorter building height with the immediate site context. However, a common building element known in Japanese as kosakubutsu, used to conceal rooftop building equipment, was employed, doubling the height of the building and completing the tripartite. Story writers too have famously used the tripartite structure in their works, also known as the 3-act story structure. Many stories follow a simple basic plot pattern. This plot pattern is called the story arc. The plot is the sequence or order of events in a story. The plot includes Act 1, the setup or exposition. This is the part of the plot that tells how the story begins. It also sets the scene. Act 2. This is the confrontation or rising action. This is the part of the story leading to the climax. Stakes get higher for the characters. Act 3. Act 3 begins with a crisis or conflict. This is our climax and our resolution. This is where there's a conflict or a struggle between opposing forces. This is also the point of crisis in the plot. It may be the reader or the viewer's highest point of interest. Act 3 then ends with a falling action, the action in the story after the climax is revealed, and a resolution, the part of the plot that reveals the final outcome. A good example of a 3-act story structure can be seen in the story of the 3 little pigs. Here we can see Act 1. The pigs move out of their mother's house. A straw house is built, a stick house is built, and a brick house is built. Act 2. The wolf destroys the straw house. The wolf destroys the stick house. The wolf can't destroy the brick house. Act 3. The climax. The wolf gets toasted climbing down the chimney. The falling action. Pigs clean up the chimney. And finally, the resolution. Pigs have the best supper ever, and the pigs live happily ever after. Many other art forms can also benefit from the theory of tripartite. Tripartite in photography and other art forms is often referred to as a rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is actually a guideline more than a rule. It is intended to help the artist with the placement of elements and focal point within the composition. Instead of centering your subject like a big bullseye, artists align the subjects with the guidelines in their intersection points, placing the horizon on the top or the bottom line, or allowing linear features in the image to flow from section to section. This can be accomplished with individual objects like this statue. It can also be used in a landscape application to create a more dynamic composition, and it can even be used in a cityscape photo. Graphic designers can also benefit from tripartite when creating their web pages to create a focal point and a visual interest, or in any other design-related work that requires an artistic structure to present a person, place, or business, such as this business card. Tripartite is all around us and a part of many great works of art. Thanks for watching.